Ainsley Earhardt has been a top-performing Fox News anchor for many years, building a devoted following and becoming one of the network's most adored figures. Given her polished appearance and all-American charm, it's no surprise that viewers have christened her Barbie. The Fox and Friends host's life behind the scenes hasn't exactly been picture-perfect, despite the fact that she appears to be in control. Earhardt began her career at Fox News 10 years prior to joining Fox and Friends in 2016. She has established herself as a conservative favorite over the years, and when she published her book The Light Within Me in 2018, Donald Trump even personally endorsed it. Ainsley Earhardt, a genuinely nice person, recently wrote a fantastic book that is doing incredibly well. At the time, he tweeted, "She is very special and so is her new book, Bring It to #1. Though it may seem inevitable, Earhardt had no intention of becoming a journalist. Before recognizing her actual calling, a vocation that combined cameras and crowds, she briefly pursued acting. But once that failed, she took a detour into orthodontics, of all things. In college, she decided to pursue a career in journalism and worked her way up from local stations to CBS affiliates and finally to Fox News. In her book, she writes, "All I could think was, how did I get here? It had to be God." Earhardt's personal life has been a little more problematic, despite the fact that her career trajectory has been nothing short of remarkable. Earhardt's real-life hardships are anything but suited for television, ranging from 2 divorces, one of which was publicized, to the devastating loss of a miscarriage following a protracted attempt to conceive. She's gone through 2 divorces. Although there has been a lot of talk about Ainsley Earhardt and Sean Hannity's alleged romance, some fans may not be aware that Earhardt had previously been married twice, much like Hannity. In 2005, she married Kevin McKinney, her college love, in her first marriage. Both parties remained silent about the specifics, but suspicion circulated that a third party was the reason they finally called it quits in 2009. Only 2 years later, Earhardt tried love again, this time with Will Proctor, the former standout quarterback for Clemson University. The couple even had a daughter in 2015, but once more a happy ending was not in their future. Proctor strongly refuted the allegation that he had cheated on Earhardt with one of his close friends, according to a person who spoke to People. "There is not 1 ounce of truth to the allegations that I had an affair," he stated. He implied it was Earhardt's choice to give up, even though he was the one who filed for divorce. "I remain focused on and committed to being the best dad and maintaining a friendship with my wife, even though she has decided to move on." Earhardt continues to aspire for her ideal partner in spite of 2 well-publicized heartbreaks. Is Hannity going to be there? "I would love to find love again, and I want to demonstrate a loving relationship for Hayden one day," she stated to the newspaper. "I know that God will put the right man in my life if that's His will, and He'll do it in His time." It was hard for her to get pregnant. Ainsley Earhardt threw herself into the hustle to advance in her work, putting her career above her family, only to discover that life doesn't always go as planned. Even though she was successful, there was a cost. Things didn't go as well as she had planned by the time she was ready to start a family. In the White Chair movie, My Perfect Plan, she revealed, "I was a planner. I planned out every aspect of my life, including what I would do, how I would travel to New York, the internships I would do, and the milestones I would reach. But when I started trying to have children, I was not successful." Earhardt disclosed in a women's health column that she hadn't been particularly motivated to have children until she was in her late 30s, but the idea of having a large family, 4 children to be exact, had always been in the back of her mind. However, the possibility of having 4 biological children had been eliminated by the time she was resolved to make that happen. She nevertheless made the decision to go for one, although it also proved to be difficult. "I had to be patient throughout this period of my life. It wasn't working out, even though I really wanted a baby," she stated I started to feel really sad that we were having so much trouble conceiving, noting that it was particularly challenging because it seemed like none of her peers were experiencing the same problems. I kept seeing mothers with strollers, kids on park swings, and expectant women on the sidewalks. While my friends in the workplace were getting pregnant, I wasn't. She miscarried when she eventually became pregnant for the first time. After 8 months of trying, Ainsley Earhardt and Will Proctor, her second husband, finally received the much-anticipated news that they were expecting a child. When they heard the baby's heartbeat during one of their first doctor's appointments, they were both ecstatic, feeling as though their prayers had been answered. However, that priceless sound had vanished by the subsequent visit. What followed was shocking and heartbreaking. In her Women's Health column, she asked, "Is this really happening to us?" and added that she looked for serenity while believing that everything was a part of God's plan. "I knew my child would be content and absolutely wonderful when he or she was taken home to paradise. We'll cross paths again sometime." Earhardt had to undergo numerous procedures to remove the unborn kid, which left the aftermath terrible. They also found that the baby had an additional chromosome during that period. Earhardt and Proctor also made the decision to stop trying to conceive after such a heartbreaking loss, but life had other ideas. She became suddenly pregnant again a few months later. They welcomed their daughter Hayden. In November 2015, Earhardt talked about how her loss changed her outlook and taught her that every moment matters and that nothing in life is guaranteed in an interview with Yahoo Life. "We just don't know what the future holds, and, God willing, we'll all live long lives, but I just embrace every single second with Hayden," she stated. "Remember that everything is a season and cherish each moment. Even if the happy moments pass quickly, so do the terrible ones." Despite her mother's passing, she had to keep working. Being candid, Ainsley Earhardt hasn't held back from discussing her personal struggles, particularly those involving her mother, Dale. She talked candidly about her mother's protracted health struggles in a Facebook post, stating that Dale had been battling a number of ailments for decades. After receiving 3 daily injections and numerous finger pricks, Mom was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 39, then had a stroke 4 years ago, Earhardt revealed in March 2022. Doctors hurried her into operation after Dad discovered her in time. She is a woman of God, a warrior, and a fighter. Despite initially surviving the stroke, Dale's health declined in the years that followed, and she tragically died on October 22, 2022. Even after this devastating loss, Earhardt made an appearance on Fox and Friends a few days later. "You all are probably wondering how I can come to work today," she said to the audience via the rap. "The reason is that my mother would have preferred that Where are you?" she would ask when I was taking a day off. Earhardt finds comfort in her firm conviction that Dale is now in a better place, even if losing her mother was clearly traumatic. "We're just grateful we know her faith was strong," she said. "We are aware of her location. Jesus is with her. She took us to church every Sunday, taught us all about Jesus, and loved the Lord. She regularly deals with public scrutiny." It is not surprising that controversy tends to follow Ainsley Earhardt, as she is a fearless conservative host who is accustomed to stirring things up. Seth Meyers attacked her on Late Night in 2020, labeling her a self-serving hypocrite for her views on American intelligence services. Earhardt was also called a complete, non-intelligent human being and a stupid blonde by fellow journalist and anchor Soledad O'Brien on the Daily Beast's The New Abnormal podcast. She was criticized by O'Brien for Fox's uninformed coverage of the COVID-19 vaccination, even going so far as to label Earhardt's views as unimaginably ill-informed. For her part, Earhardt says she doesn't give a damn. Criticism, whether positive or negative, hardly affects her daily life. She has learned to ignore the fact that she is a target, even though she is well aware of it. There are going to be haters and those who will attack me. They have no idea who I am or what my heart is like. She told Faithwire, I love them, demonstrating her unwavering resolve. I don't take offense. I just strive to be the best version of myself because I know that God has placed me in this situation and that I will be attacked. If people dislike me because I try to be honest and genuine, what do you want me to be?